Last September, my life hit rock bottom. I feel completely lost, unsure of what I want or what I was living for. Overwhelmed by relentless anxiety attacks, I couldn't function like a normal person. For a long time, I was paralyzed because of overwhelming anxiety and worries, spending my days in bed, consumed by negative thoughts. I became hypersensitive to sound and lights, just like a vampire. I isolated myself, lost my appetite, had endless nightmares or just straight out couldn't sleep at all. On the outside, I look like a lifeless ancient mummy recently discovered by a group of anthropologists, but inside, I was crying, screaming, and wanted it all to end. That was the first time in my life it felt tempting to me, but those thoughts are also a turning point, a wake-up call that I need help. I saw a psychiatrist, start therapy, and resumed my anxiety medication. I did everything within my power to save myself. Now I'm proud to say, nearly 6 months later, I'm still at the bottom, or maybe just a little bit above it. But I didn't hurt myself, I'm still here, and I have become better at managing my anxiety. Here is how I took control of my life and began to fight back against anxiety over the past 150 days. Step 1. Breaking out of automatic mode, aka being more mindful. As a natural pessimistic person, my automatic mode lets negative thoughts consume me. I feel powerless and hopeless when anxiety starts to spiral. My therapist taught me mindfulness to recognize when I was slowly handing control of my life over to those emotions. I learned to break that harmful spiraling cycle. For the first time, I understood that happiness is a choice and that I could control my emotions. Now, when I call my mind spiraling due to anxiety, I remind myself that worries and anxiety aren't helpful for solving problems. I refuse to give them control, which helped me maintain a clear mind to tackle the actual issues. I also use past experience to remind myself that 90% of the worst scenario I fear may never happen. I worried my mom would kick me out when I came out. She didn't. I was terrified my brain would get infected with brain-eating amoeba after a week serving a lake with my friends. That didn't happen either. Mindfulness has reshaped my relationship with negative thought and emotions, empowering me to move on to the step 2, breaking out of inertia and taking action. After practicing mindfulness, I realized change was possible. There's no magic or shortcut to achieving our goals because Harry Potter isn't real and we are all muggles. Alright, I don't know how to draw muggles, so I apologize that I make them look a bit stupid. But anyways, changes require efforts and action, but it's not easy, especially when anxiety attacks are like a ticking time bombs. So I took it slow and moved on to the step 3, setting realistic goals and breaking them down into manageable steps. I used to believe that procrastinate means I'm lazy, but the truth is that I procrastinate to avoid negative feelings like fear. I was afraid of my ambitious goals because they seemed like Mount Everest I could never climb on. So I focused on taking small steps instead of aiming for grand magical changes because consistency outweighs intensity, and attempting to make a massive change all at once often becomes another barrier to entry. So I told myself, want to feel better? Start by getting out of the bed and cleaning out the mess. Want to become the next Miss Olympia? Begin by working out twice a week. Want to save $10,000? Start by saving $500. This approach helps me understand that achieving my big goals is just about accomplishing small steps incrementally. Step 4. Being accountable. Since small steps feel more achievable, I stopped using my emotion as excuses for not following through. I used to say I will do it tomorrow when I feel more motivated or less depressed, but tomorrow would turn into another tomorrow, and that tomorrow would turn into another one, and that one would turn into another one. Uh, I guess you got what I mean. What I thought was just a day delay turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, months eventually become years. Nothing ever got done or changed, and the only thing that was changed was my anxiety. It got worse. Now, with my goal no longer seem like impossible barriers, I start making excuses. Also, achieving more and more small steps boost my confidence and make me feel more capable of tackling bigger challenges. Step 5. Redefining happiness. My poor mental health convinced me I would never be happy or smile again. If emotions are on a spectrum, I was at the extreme end of darkness, with happiness feeling like the opposite extreme, just completely unattainable. Well, being extreme is another bad nature of mine. I struggle to see anything outside of the complete black and white. But thanks to mindfulness, I identified this issue and began to address it. I decided to redefine my emotional spectrum. While I was still in an extreme dark place, I labeled everything about it as just happier. This way, happiness was no longer an unreachable state on the opposite end, but rather a series of incremental improvements. This way, I feel the emotional spectrum become like a ladder I could gradually climb up. Instead of a giant sinkhole, I must take a huge leap in order to be on the other side. Step 6. Building healthy habits. I was in self-destruct mode, doing nothing good for myself. I abandoned my hobbies, isolate myself, and spent all my times with my spiraling thoughts. But a small part of me wanted to get better, and I'm glad that I listened to her. I started reading, working out, and reconnecting with my friend again. I began journaling and discovering that doodling helped me stay calm. I know that I'm suck at drawing and I'm not as talented as my brother who is an actual artist, but I don't care. It's fun to me and doodling helped me stay calm and coping with my anxiety. Anyway, my partner and I also began sharing 3 things we are grateful for every night before we go to bed. Intentionally building and rebuilding these habits help me climb out of my rut. Step 7. Limiting screen time and intentionally choosing content to digest. I was addicted to my phone. I took it everywhere with me. I feel terrible every time I waste hours on social media, yet I keep doing it. I try using my willpower to discipline myself with screen time limits. I would say, okay, I will scroll for maybe just 15 or 30 minutes before bed. Then 2 hours later, I was still fucking scrolling. Self-discipline just didn't work for me with phone addiction, so I took a different approach. I download apps to block social media and kept my phone far away when I need to focus. By removing the addicting elements, I start wanting to use my phone as much. I start reading more books that interest me. I read self-improvement books to learn more anxiety coping techniques, and I spend more time thinking and reflecting. Step 8. Structure your day. When I was in my worst mental state, I had no daily schedule. This left a void that anxiety and other negative emotions quickly just filled. I became stuck in a rut. So I started building a daily schedule and creating a to-do list. I fill my day with tasks, both big like learning, reading, and working, and small like just going for a walk or journaling for 15 minutes. The goal of this schedule is to create a good day because days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. By creating a good day schedule, there was no blank space for anxiety to creep in. Step 9. Be a compassionate and supportive friend to yourself. Recovering is not a linear journey. It has endless ups and downs back and forth. But this is simply how growth and learning happen in life. No path leading to something better or greater is perfectly smooth. But as an overachiever, I refuse to accept this truth. I beat myself up and criticize myself whenever I stumble. But this way, instead of trying harder, I actually just give up. Now, whenever I make a small progress, just like getting out of a bed, stepping outside, making a nice meal, I told myself I did a good job. When I stumbled or took a step back, I told myself, let's try it again. I stopped criticizing myself for not making enough progress because I realized that self-criticism only fuels anxiety, not personal growth. By being kind to myself, I feel more empowered and confident to continue this recovery journey. Overcoming anxiety requires constant, conscious, and intentional mental strength to fight back against the darkness that tries to consume you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I will keep practicing until my success significantly outnumber my failures. I'm still on the path to recovery, but I'm proud to say that instead of being constantly stabbing around by anxiety, I'm not able to fight back about 50% of the time. Some people say mental illness is only for the weak, but I believe it's completely opposite because only strong, brave, persistent, and determined individual can ever overcome it. I hope you have learned something from this video or at least feel seen and heard. You are not alone in battling this anxiety. If you enjoyed this video, it will be a huge help if you click the like button. This way, this video from a tiny nobody channel will be shown to others. Maybe someone who is battling anxiety and just needs some encouragement. If you are still here, you may consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in my next crappy doodle video.